Thank you for joining us on the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, Lagos partial shutdown takes effect as Nigeria records new cases of coronavirus. Inspector General of Police speaks on AMOTEKUN security initiative, vows to work with stakeholders for its success. And later on the show, Nigeria Army suffers a big blow against Boko Haram as terrorists kill 92 Chadian soldiers. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Adekunle Yusuf. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for joining us. Now, as Nigeria holds its breath on the coronavirus pandemic, authorities are introducing tighter measures to contain the deadly virus. In Lagos, the country's commercial capital and the worst hit by the pandemic so far, partial shutdown of the city has taken effect. The country has also recorded new cases of the coronavirus, according to the latest figures released by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC. Some sharing news that 6 of the patients had to be given a clean bill of health and discharged. Babajide, that's like a cherry news. This is still in Lagos. The Italian man that actually brought COVID-19 to this country has actually been discharged. That shows a level of capacity in terms of handling this thing on the part of Lagos State government. Now for another batch of round of six people to be discharged, that shows Lagos State government, they are doing some things right.
Yes, this disease has been the first stress test for the Sanwo-Olu administration, and we can see the energy that it has brought into the war. We can see clearly that he's doing his best, and all of the people working with him. I think that we are privileged to have in Professor Abayomi, one of the best physicians in the world. We are privileged to have him. Sometimes I ask myself that as a commissioner, because the man is, given his pedigree, is more than big enough to be a minister. But you have him there, he's commissioner in Lagos, clearly because he wants to serve his people. He's, in the real sense, we can't even pay his wages. I'm telling you because I know how big he is, how big he is as a physician in the world. So he's deploying all the talent that God has given him to try and defeat this pandemic. And the results are beginning to show. Everyone can see that Lagos is providing the right leadership. We can only continue to encourage them, pray for them that their efforts, their sleepless nights, bear fruits. And if they can discharge people, they can tell them, look, you can go, you are fine, you can go. It shows that we have the capacity to not just detect the ailment, but to manage the people who are infected appropriately.
Adekunle Yusuf, so we can say COVID-19 is not a death sentence,
no,
perhaps.
It's not a death sentence. You see, it's just the fear that we need to handle. It's not a big deal. It's real. People should accept that.
And the earlier they come out, the best.
It's real, but if people just adhere to certain, strategies about hygiene, safe practices, about hygiene, personal hygiene, believe me, it's quite easy. It will help us individually, then it will also help as a community. It will also help the government. Let me explain. When this thing started, many people didn't believe it. I think by now, I doubt if we will still have anyone who will say COVID-19 is not real. I know many people who challenged us that we were publishing, stories about COVID-19 without putting names. Yes, there's a reason for it. But when there is need to put names, at least we've named some of the powerful men in Nigeria. So there is no doubt about it anymore. Now, people should know about social distancing. The government is trying to promote that anything that will make us to congregate, whether for religious activities, whether for economic matters, whether for political gathering
our
or whatever. For our own good, let's avoid it now. And it is in the interest of our community. I think Lagos State government is pushing very hard on that. You see, Jide was mentioned Professor Abayomi. Believe me, Nigeria, Lagos is always lucky anyway. He's one of the best experts you can get in biosecurity. It's not only Nigeria, anywhere in the world. It's not. Is when you see somebody is eminently qualified. Sometimes, you know, Nigeria, we just like to do things the way we want to do it. People like that should actually be in charge of Nigeria's health, sector. But we are happy Lagos, knows his work. And so,
Nigeria.
Believe me, having him in charge has really helped. It's like what is happening is like it's 40. It's what he knows how to do best. Believe me. So it has really, really helped. When you see him, he hardly sleeps. You pity him. Personally, I pity him because I attend his press conferences every day, Just look at this man. He's thoroughly stressed up because he's personally involved, So
passion.
I know we see the passion with which, he's doing the work. So Nigeria, we're lucky. If we cooperate with the government, there's a lot that, we can benefit.
Babajide, in a quest to stem the tide of the spread of COVID-19, that's why Lagos State government they've deemed it fit to actually effect this sort of partial lockdown. A lot of people misconstrue it. That's a total lockdown, and even if it's a total lockdown, it's for the good of the environment. But we still see people. The argument they still saying that look, it's not sustainable. That look, there's hunger in the land. How do they even get money to stockpile their houses and co?
Yes, what we have is not a complete lockdown. If it's a complete lockdown, there will be soldiers on the streets, and policemen enforcing it.
Vehicles will not move.
What we have is a situation in which vehicles are moving, and the government also allowed a category of people to sell their wares. The government has said, look, if you are selling medicines and food items, you are free, to open your market, to open your shops. So that in itself means that the economy has not been totally turned off, because the challenge that we face is both medical and economic. When we go so deep into this, the economy will face a serious strain. Sanwo-Olu has not decided to turn off the economy. So the way it is now, the people can still do their day-to-day business. Not everyone, but those of you who had been exempted, you are free to move around, you are free to sell your wares. So the partial lockdown, in my view, is good. It's good enough. But if in the fullness of time it is deemed necessary that we should have a total lockdown, I'm sure that the government will not hesitate to do that. And if the government does that, I'll be backing them all the way. Because in the words of Prime Minister Modi of India, 21 days lockdown in India will save the people 21 years of suffering. Because, look, nobody knows where this whole thing will end.
Right.
All of those states of Europe and America, all of those countries, none of them can say with finality that, look, this is when this whole thing will end. That's why you look at Italy, for example, they can't even think of soccer. So without being told, you know that the soccer season in Italy cannot end at the time that it was meant to end. This whole thing
might not even surface this year again.
No, the way it's going, given the way Italy is struggling to manage the crisis, even turning to God, their leader turning to God, you know that nobody can even think of any normal day-to-day activities at this time. And even President Trump is already worried He's saying
wildfire
that he
in
wants, yes, 233 deaths on Wednesday, which is the highest in America since this whole thing began. And Trump is saying, look, I want the lockdown to end by Easter. Easter that, is talking about the period between maybe 8 and 9 of April. You know that the way things are going, that is a dream.
It's not looking.
You know, it doesn't look likely to happen at all, because the figures will rise in America. The confirmed cases will rise in America once they even get right the issue of testing. The way it is now, many people have not been tested in America. When more people get tested, the confirmed cases will rise in America. And then you begin to look for how you then treat those people who have whose cases are confirmed. So I don't think that Trump can get his wish that the economy should be back revving again by Easter.
I was studying the case of Malaysia. You know, they just had few figures, very few number, till they held this gathering, and before you say Jack Robinson, as in a religious gathering, and it added like 1,000 more to their case after.
Oh, is it South Korea? South Korea.
Is it Malaysia or South Korea?
South Korea.
South Korea.
It added to their this thing. So somebody was arguing with me that they can't tell us not to worship God. They can't tell us, you know. And I was like telling the person, you can always do that in your house and in your mind. You don't have to congregate.
Yesterday, Saudi Arabia had to impose curfew.
Yeah, that mosque for the first time
apart curfew in the city, then you cannot move from one city to another.
Yes, that mosque has been locked down.
From Medina to Mecca, all their big cities. So if Saudi
and they stop Umrah.
Yes, they said not only Umrah, they stop anybody from coming to their country. Either you want to pray or you want to visit, you want tourists, anything they don't want. For now, they say no.
Major revenue.
So for a country like Saudi Arabia to do it, you know, this thing needs to be taken seriously. When you look at the numbers from country to country, the fact that you have 5 today does not mean you should be singing. No.
You can go to 10.
Believe me, in the next 2 days or weeks, you can have thousands, from 5 to thousands. Because what it means is that unless you put certain measures in place, like having people to do to observe social distancing, and when you have little this and that, you do self-isolation, and when you have cases, you continue to do what they call contact tracing, and from there you do testing and all that. If all that is not in case, believe me, nobody can say anything about anything.
A governor in Nigeria was saying that the state is God's own state, so because they've not recorded any. I was laughing.
Maybe he's just trying to make, when Trump said he will actually be happy to have people back, all the churches to fill up by, Easter. He was just trying to give hope. He knew, okay, they passed what is considered the biggest stimulus in America. They passed it yesterday. And that is a president that, you would think will not be able to pull such a thing through because of its nature.
But
style.
Problems in the beginning.
No, that's America. But the truth is that when it comes to America, they easily forget. They easily forget that you are red or blue. You are no longer Republican. You are no longer Democrat.
That's what is missing in our case.
Believe me, maybe because we haven't had a huge national crisis. If we do, believe me, nobody will tell me because you are APC or PDP, I won't listen to you. My country matters beyond any party, beyond any individual. Because without our country, what do we have? We have nothing.
So that what Adekule is saying reminds me of this economic buffer. A lot of countries they've been announcing their own stimulus for the economy and everything. And what I've seen so far, even by the CBN and by the federal government, and Nigeria is broke. And it's coming at a very wrong time, this virus. Yes. And I don't know what the government can do actually to actually stimulate the economy?
You see, Germany is setting aside $600 billion.
$600 billion.
Yes, to assist individuals, and corporate concerns, because there is no way this thing will not affect many big companies. For example, when you just look at it, China is the biggest consumer market in the world. Everyone wants to go to China to sell his stuff. It is the biggest automotive market in the world. Suddenly, you discover that you can't push your products, to those areas. How do you then survive as a company? There are some countries, there are some countries, and there are companies. There are some countries that already, when it comes to China, it is either China or nobody. The bulk of the sales that they record is in China. Look at New Zealand, for example. New Zealand makes the bulk of its money from tourism from the Chinese, but nobody is coming. The way since this thing began, nobody is coming. So it will really affect everyone. Now, the country must design some form of stimulus, not just for individuals, but for companies that will be hard hit. The airlines, how do they survive? Because I was hearing, I heard this story that Aero has decided to stop flying at this time, but bills have to be paid. When America faced this kind of problem after 9/11, the president had to personally work with the Congress to ensure that the airlines, because they were the worst hit, people were scared to fly. So they had to design this kind of stimulus for those airlines to survive. So, but in our own case, not just the companies, but individuals. I've heard, I think it's AA who said now that it should be 10,000 for each Nigerian.
I think of BOKO.
Yeah, we have to do something about it. You can't just keep say people should sit in their homes, they should not go anywhere. What do they eat?
That's the most important
companies
thing.
that are coming up with such a similar initiative are cushioning the effect by giving the people.
America is talking about $1,000.
No, 1,200. When you look at the one CBN is trying to do, it's very good, but I want the component Jide is talking about, the ordinary Nigerian component of it, because what the CBN is doing is that you must be a big business and you must show evidence of how this corona crisis has affected you. So mostly for business interests. Now the ordinary folks, like when you look at the the stimulus for the American one, you see the ones for hospitals, for medical, people in the medical business and all that. Now, when you go down, you see the one for the average Americans. Just show proof that you are a worker, then you are taken care of.
Okay, I have to leave it there.
Yeah.
Okay, barring further hiccups, the AMOTEKUN security initiative in the southwest region of Nigeria will begin operation soon. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, who described it as part of the community policing strategy of the force, said the police have agreed with the state governors on the way forward. He told Babajide, who spoke with him at the force headquarters in Abuja, that he's ready to work with stakeholders for the success of AMOTEKUN. So let's share with you that interview he had with Babajide Otitoju.
Concerning community policing strategy, in fact, it is nothing new. It is policing function, only that it is a strategy being imbibed by the Nigeria police to see how the grassroots can be involved in policing their community. If you look at the strategy itself, it talks about partnering with the community to solve problems. And when you are partnering with the community to solve problems, you must look at your own structure. The way you are structured, how does it conform with this strategy? And we've looked at our own structure, we found out that we needed to readjust our structure so as to achieve the purpose of partnering and solving problems within the community. And for that reason, we've leveraged on the provision of the Police Act that provides for special constable. I gave criteria for which an individual can become a special constable. And we take that for the purpose of our own community policing strategy. And in adjusting our own structure, what we did was to say, okay, since community policing involves the grassroots participation, community participation in policing their own environment, then we must be able to have a structure that will be manned, operated by the community. So at a divisional level, police division, for example, we are having a committee, we call it Community Policing Committee, where all the stakeholders, representatives of the stakeholders will be there. You will have the local government chairman, you will have the divisional police officer, you will have the head of a religious organization, whether it is CAN or Islamic organization, you will have market association represented, you will have youth represented, town union officials represented within the division, within that community. This committee, Community Policing Committee, are the people that know the people around them within their community, so they will help in selecting people that are credible, people that are impeccable character, that can be selected, screened, and be trained as community policing officers. Now, these community policing officers, their role is to make sure that they generate intelligence, they patrol the community, they identify factors that can lead to commission of crime, they can equally take decisions on some of those low-level crimes that are occurring for them to solve it with the leadership of the community. That is this committee that has been set up. If there are issues that you have to deal with at that local area, the community policing officers will now engage the community policing committee, where these stakeholders are, to deliberate. That is at the divisional level. When you go to the area command level, where you have more than 3, 4, 5 police divisions, you will have a committee also, community policing committee. That one is advisory anyway, to be advising the lower structure of the committee on observed areas that can improve policing the community. And at the state level, we also have the state community policing committee and state community policing advisory committee. The committee, all of these committees will be represented by stakeholders, important stakeholders within the community. For example, in the state, you have chairman of the traditional rulers council, you will have the commissioner of police represented, you have representatives of other security agencies, you have representatives of market women, faith-based organizations, civil society organizations, and the rest of them. That community policing committee will be working with the other police community committee at the local level, at the divisional level, while the advisory committee will be advising after observing some of the areas that will require intervention based on the operations of the different committees. Then they will advise. One of the roles of the community policing advisory committee in the state, which of course these traditional rulers and CP and others will be part of it, is that they will be reporting their the activities of community policing committee at the local level, community policing committee at the area command level, up to the state level. They will now report their activities to the governor during the State Security Council meeting. So you can see we have just set our structure so that the community themselves will have a say in policing of their communities. So when you talk about AMOTEKUN, when they came up with the idea of this AMOTEKUN, there were a lot of complaints here and there because some people call it regional security outfit. Because it was called regional security outfit, people started asking questions. How can you operate regional security outfit when we don't have regions, we don't have regional laws that will take care of the operations? You can also not have regional control, command and control, how do you operate it and the rest of them. But when we sat down with the governors of the Southwest, after looking at all the challenges there, we agreed that each state can create any structure and call it any name that can help other security agencies in fighting crime within the state. Already they do that. In some states they've created neighborhood watch, in some they created vigilante, in some they created different names. So it is that same structure, because those structures are working with security agencies to help in fighting crime. It is that kind of structure that we ask the state governments to enhance their performances in terms of getting enabling law for them, getting resources for them, so that they can be capacitated to work together with law enforcement agencies. But each state must have its own, not to say that there's one single structure for the region. And it has been agreed, and we agreed collectively that with the community policing strategy, that has fitted perfectly into what each state already has. And then, so everybody has agreed to accept, and they have all imbibed the community policing structure as I explained to you for implementation in their states. So the AMOTEKUN of a thing is just a name, but each state will operate based on the peculiarity of that state. Nothing has changed. The AMOTEKUN in each state, as they created them, the law creating them has given them role, and essentially they are just to patrol the communities so as to prevent commission of crime. When they see crime is being committed, they make arrests and hand over to the police. When they can give information to the police, they can be used for intelligence gathering. And when there's going to be police going to take an operation against crime or criminals, they can join. Though they are not carrying arms, but they can join to assist in that those operations. So essentially that is their job. They cannot detain, they cannot prosecute. So they must work with security agencies that are empowered to carry arms, they're empowered to detain, they're empowered to prosecute, to send the bad guys to prison.
That was an exclusive interview with our own Babajide Kolade Otitoju with the Inspector General of Police, Muhammadu Adamu, and he shed light on the operations of AMOTEKUN, because before now, they've told us one or two things that are not in tandem with what the Inspector General of Police said about AMOTEKUN. They are not to prosecute, they are not to carry arms, you know, to clear the air on that. That's just supply intelligence. And Babajide, when after the takeoff of this thing now, so basically it will be like an intelligence supplement to the Nigerian police.
Yes, and he also told me that they could accompany the police on missions, just the same way that the civilian JTF accompanies the Nigerian Army on missions, even dangerous missions. They can accompany them on missions, but is not prepared to license ammunition for them, because in his view, there's already too many illicit weapons.
I think
in the hands of
Africa, Nigeria is
Nigerians.
number one.
You know, I don't know about South Africa. They have, those ones have weapons more than us, especially shotguns. You know, what he's saying is, I can't license guns for people at this stage because already we have too many that we are trying to mop up. You know, so that is the point that he's making, and he believes that they can still function despite of that. They can still function, and he gave the example of the neighborhood
watching Lagos.
Yes, that they're not functioning in spite of the fact they don't carry guns.
It's
And
even
truly,
headed by a retired deputy inspector.
they make arrests. They make arrests. You know, in spite of that. And if you look at what happened during the One Lagos Fiesta, they were the ones who manned, who did the work of policemen throughout. They policed the environment, all the places where those parties were held. They policed the environment. So it's possible, but he promised to come to Lagos, have a meeting with the governors of the Southwest, so that they can finally fine-tune the whole idea, and then we are ready to go.
I think in most of the states now, it has been signed into law. It's now like operational.
Yes.
Okay.
You see, when you look at policing, the soul of it is intelligence gathering.
Okay.
That is what is lacking in the current, security architecture in Nigeria today. If you are proactive in intelligence gathering, most other things you want to do will be very easy, because you can't plunge into a forest that you don't know how it looks like. But when you have information, when you have intelligence, it's easy to, go after the bad guys, to make arrests. Then prosecution and all that will also be easy because you have intelligence. If there is no intelligence, with AMOTEKUN, as I'm beginning to see it, maybe at the beginning there's no need for them to carry arms. The IGP, I think he's right on that. If events later dictate something, different, the situation will handle itself. That's what I believe.
After all, customs only began carrying arms recently.
So, yes, when you look at the civil defense, you know how they started. You remember?
Yes, they were not carrying guns before.
If you want to put sincerity into something, let events dictate themselves. So we know what to do, where to go, because the level of banditry has to stop. The level of criminality, kidnapping, all those things, we have to stop. If you don't have such things again, it's good for everybody.
All right. Now, it appears we have been so inundated by the coronavirus pandemic that have become so oblivious of other challenges bedeviling us as a country. The war against Boko Haram terrorism is far from over. The Nigerian army suffered heavy casualties in a battle with Boko Haram in Gorigi area of Borno State recently. According to the coordinator of the Defense Media Operations, Major General John Eneche, 47 soldiers were killed in the ambush. The Chadian army also suffered similar fates in the hands of Boko Haram. The terrorists killed 92 Chadian soldiers. Babajide, this figure is huge.
Yes.
For a group of terrorists to kill 92 soldiers, I just try to imagine how many actually were involved in that operation.
Yes, because they caught the Chadian troops by surprise. In West Africa, the Chadian soldiers are the most battle-tested, they are the most seasoned, and probably the best armed in terms of the weapons at their disposal. And they also have the best air force in West Africa.
Courtesy of France.
Yes. France has invested so much on improving capacity of the Chadian army. But they were caught unawares in the battle for Boma Peninsula. you know, by the nature of the terrain, you know, peninsula is a piece of land that projects into a body of water. So it's literally almost totally surrounded by water. So which is for the ice swap, whose base is the Lake Chad area. That is a classic, what you call habitat for them. Classic natural habitat for them is the sort of battle that they like to wage. So when the Chadian troops saw that they were being overpowered, they quickly sent for reinforcements. But Boko Haram is, they are already experts at big-time ambushes. So the reinforcement that was heading towards Boma Peninsula to assist the soldiers who had been locked in battle with Boko Haram for almost 7 hours, they were attacked with rocket-propelled grenades, IEDs, and other weaponry at the disposal of the Nigerian terrorist group. So in the end, the Chadian troops lost 24 armored vehicles. They also lost some weapons to Boko Haram. When they engage in this kind of battle, they want to steal your weapons. So when they attack an army base, it's the weapons that they are looking
They go after.
Yes, which is what they do to Nigerian troops. So they eventually ran away in speedboats. Ran away to their base in the Lake Chad area. Now, the president who announced this, that they lost 92 soldiers, he said this is the first time that we'll lose this number of troops in a battle. It shows that it's a big, big setback. And he's saying that his revenge, because he visited the scene, he's saying that his revenge will be lightning quick and that these terrorists will regret taking on the Chadian army in the manner that they have done. You see, many things have happened between the time when Sanusi was deposed. Boko Haram has inflicted heavy casualties, especially on the Nigerian army. But because everybody is talking about
the news,
yes,
position of Sanusi, coronavirus.
People are not aware.
In the last 1 week, it has been
People
coronavirus.
are not aware of these attacks. There is a town called Kumshe in Bama local government area in Borno State. It's the hometown of the chief of staff to the president, Abba Kyari. Boko Haram went there, inflicted casualties on the army. That was some days back. But it's this Gorigi attack that everyone is talking about. But before Gorigi, there was an attack. And before
the hometown
Kumshe,
of the chief of staff.
yes, and before Kumshe, there was another attack, a big one. So it's been like that. And when you see, as I've said before on this program, when you see a sudden spike in Boko Haram attacks, it suggests a change in leadership. We've already been told that ISWAP has effected a change in leadership, and younger people have taken over, and they are very brutal. Now, Balawan and Ali Abdullahi, they've taken over, and the
ISWAP faction.
Yes, they've taken over control of
the militants.
They've upstaged the children of the man who set up the group. They've upstaged
Yusuf.
What's his
Abanawi.
name? Abanawi. They've upstaged Abanawi. Mama Noru, the father figure, has been killed.
They killed him.
Now, yeah, they killed him since. So they are in control now. Balawan and Ali Abdullah, they are in control now, and you can see that they are far more aggressive now than before. So it just suggests that we have to really up our game, because the enemy, as I always say, is not an enemy that we can underrate. And every time we think that the end has come for this group, something happens that frightens us.
And Yusuf, the life of our people, of people staying in the Northeast, they're also involved, as COVID-19 is also ravaging, that is life-threatening. But this one too is also very, very important. And when you see the resurgence of this group is frightening. It's frightening because after some time you will think they've been defeated, incapacitated, but before some weeks, months, they will just come. And Jide was telling me the attack on military base
entering a Nigerian community. Territory. Look at them in Borno South, entering the village. They even went with their tanker.
Tanker to do what?
Yeah. If they need the fuel in the course of the war, they will fuel. You know, so those are the guys.
You can see the daredevil.
Oh my God, the guys entering the Nigerian community in Borno South. You can see them. You will see their flag now. You see the vehicle. The last vehicle will carry. You see the last vehicle will have their flag. This is. You can see them. A lot of these trucks they took from the army. You can see them. Look at the flag. You know?
The best way to deal with something like this, if the Air Force can just locate this location and, you know, airstrike.
But the truth is, by the time they will do this, they know when to do it that nobody... And
the operations are not usually long.
This one, it was almost 7 hours.
7 hours.
But when they are fighting, it's very difficult to attack them. They know how to weaken you. You know, what happened to the, Chadian, army? So, believe me, at this point, only God knows why our cup is just filled up. We have too much, to chew. Believe me, Nigerians are already, apprehensive because of this, COVID-19. Now, we are destroying our soldiers, killing them like fowls. Believe me, it's sad. The government has tried and tried and tried.
Because 47 soldiers. It might be more
than
that.
There is still a lot. No. It's when you look at the report, it's between 50 and 75. That's what the locals say. But what did the army leader...
the army truck. You know what they did? They fired RPGs into an army truck. And the army truck, when they are going, usually that big truck carries a lot of soldiers. So when you fire directly RPG into an army truck, nobody will survive. Nobody.
So
that's the thing.
so maybe because technically we defeat them, all this, all that, there is still a lot to be done in the war against Boko Haram. We shouldn't just be watching, Boko Haram destroying our soldiers like this. I think with a change in leadership of Boko Haram, maybe we should change. We're beginning to
look at changing
fresh ideas into the fight against it, because the headship also matters as well. The more militant guys have taken over, and it can only be there is nothing. It can only be bloody. It will continue to be bloody. So you need, fresh ideas. People who also these people who are there now, they've done their best, and we must commend them because they actually tried. But why not try new hands? Maybe they will be hungry. They will be hungry to make great records as well.
In our editorial meeting yesterday, you were trying to say, like, if they discover that you are growing soft as a leader, that there's a way they replace you, they eliminate you.
No, just to keep you on your toes.
That is what happened to Maman. What's his name? Al-Banawi. Abu Musab al-Banawi. That's what happened to him. He said, look, we don't need to be killing villagers when we storm these villages, and we don't need to be parading Nigerian soldiers, and executing them the way we are doing. Because everywhere they go, once they gain an upper hand, they will take soldiers prisoner. Even in this battle against Chadian troops, they took some Chadian soldiers prisoners. So, and then they will now do video trying to humiliate them. So he said, no, let us stop that. And that was why they felt he was becoming too soft.
And they got rid of
they had to get rid of him. And these guys, their next target now is Shekau. They want to go and meet Shekau where he is.
In Sambisa.
And there's a place called Chugurmi Forest. Chugurumi Forest. Chugurumi Forest is between Kalabalge, Gulumba, and Banki. So they believe that that's where he is. They want to go. It's a very thick forest. They want to go and meet him there. They want to kill him.
As a Boko Haram turning against Boko Haram.
The two groups have always, whenever they encounter each other, they don't, if they see Chekao's boys anywhere, they kill them. So they are not friends anymore. So what they want to do is so that they will have only one group. So they want to take out Chekao. So they are heading to that Chugurumi Forest. And it's one of the reasons they had to attack Kumshe, because if there are some military bases along the way, they know that they have to first deal with those ones before they can have access to Gulumba and then get into that forest and get hold of Chekao. Now what Chekao has to do is, if he's aware that they are coming for him, he has to send an emissary to meet them, to negotiate. Is either he gives up so that there will be one group, because they control the Lake Chad area. But increasingly, they are coming down to launch attacks, even in Borno South.
This faction is better funded.
The battle in the Damboa, for example, the battle of Damboa with the Nigerian army was by ISWAP fighters. So they are coming into Chekao's territory increasingly to come and fight. They are going to Yobe, so invariably they want to be the only ones left.
Well, we are optimistic that Nigerian soldiers, they are up to the task.
After the Nigerian soldiers, we don't have anything except God.
We have God.
So we should be able to trust in the ability of our soldiers. They are trying. Let me be honest with you. It's not easy to put down your lives, fighting. It's a very, very difficult fight for them, but they have to do it, and we are solidly behind them. We are solidly behind them.
They need to be more aggressive too. They need to keep advancing. Someone was telling me about one Colonel Uyep of 195 Battalion. He's said to be really doing well, advancing with his troops, clearing the way and trying to make that area a lot safer. This is what we expect from our troops. We need to take the battle to them. We need to, so that before they finish planning against us, we have hit the scene.
Well, okay, but Mudashiru Obasa, the Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, the Speaker of the Lagos House of Assembly, has just tweeted, and we just gathered that they've decided to recall the 4 suspended lawmakers after our edition yesterday.
Yeah, that's good. That's how to be a leader, a good leader. Lagos State House of Assembly is the best in Nigeria. I've said that many times, and we want the best for them. We don't want distractions. We don't want petty squabbles. Now that they listen to the GSC members and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we want peace to reign in that assembly so that they can deliver on their mandate to Lagos people. There is no malice. We want the best. We don't want arbitrariness.
There's nothing personal.
There's nothing personal. No, that is the thing. That's the way we've always been on this program.
You can't expect us. This is not an appendage of Lagos House of Assembly.
No,
if you are doing well, we say you are doing well.
You get praise when you are doing well.
If you are not doing well,
if you are arbitrary, we talk about it.
And especially your approach.
Ayo, don't also forget Pastor Inenche.
Yes.
Of Dunamis.
Yes, Dunamis. On Sunday, he held
a service, and that's the biggest church in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And we condemned what happened.
And he's a medical doctor.
It's trained. He's trained medical doctor.
Him and his wife.
Yes, and what has he done? In response to that, he has donated dozens and dozens of hospital equipment to help us fight COVID-19. That is what we want.
Good gesture.
You do the wrong thing, we condemn you, you go ahead and then do what is right.
So thumbs up to Pastor Paul Eneche.
While we hope that there won't be service
on Sunday.
And then as you talk about that part. So, Pastor, you should also talk about people who are doing very well in this coronavirus.
Yes,
fight.
the donation.
We have seen what the UBA group, has done. We want more, successful Nigerians like that.
So we have to leave it there. We have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Adekunle Yusuf.
Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. And the maestro himself, Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Thank you for always being there. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch journalists on our Hangouts on our platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozugbaku. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.